Breaking news. A judge in California resentenced the Menendez brothers 50 years to life, which means when they see the parole board in June, they will make parole and be on parole. Lyle and Eric Menendez, been in prison for 35 years for killing their parents. The new district attorney, Nathan Hochman, didn't want their release because they said that they didn't accept responsibility. However, a judge today in California said they can be resentenced and gave them 50 to life, meaning they'll be eligible for parole. But what does that mean? Does that mean they have to spend parole for the rest of their lives? I'm going to share a press conference, some information about the Menendez brothers. This is big. A lot of people wanted them free, but there was also a lot of people that didn't want them free. Let me know what you think. Check it out.
A judge in California just resentenced the Menendez brothers, clearing the way for them to be released on parole. The brothers had been serving life sentences without parole for the murder of their parents, Jose and Kitty Menendez, back in '89. They were resentenced to 50 to life with the possibility for parole. So it appears they may have a shot at freedom. Stay tuned.
Jessic, who was able to cancel out all the noise surrounding this, all of the grandstanding, all of the political back and forth, and he did what the code section said he should do. He did what justice said should happen, and he struck the special circumstance, and he sentenced them to 50 to life, which means they're immediately eligible. For those who don't know, in a couple of weeks, there is already a clemency hearing set. There's also a response due in the habeas next month?
Yes.
Next month. And so all bets are still on. The resentencing has happened. I actually made a call. First call I made was to Leslie Abramson. I couldn't get a hold of Leslie. It went straight to voicemail. I have long admired Leslie. I think about her often in this courthouse, actually, because one of the last trials she did was in this courthouse. She did say something a number of years ago that no amount of TikTokers was going to ever change anything. And so I was calling to tease her. And so, Leslie, I will tell you, it's a whole different world we live in now. And one of the things that I think is important is to recognize that, like the legislature has done, we have evolved. This is not the 90s anymore. We have a more robust understanding of a lot of things. And I hat tip to the family, and I'll let them, after we answer a couple of questions, speak about what this means to them. I just know that on a day like today, that redemption is possible. And to those, you saw X-rated talk today, you saw kind of the ridiculous nature of the cross-examination. You can turn anything on its head. The fact is, the Menendez brothers have done remarkable work, and today is a great day after 35 years.
Did you talk to Eric and Lyle really quick after this? What's your reaction?
I told them to call me on their burner phone.
Are you disappointed that you guys didn't want to face the parole board instead of them walking free tonight? Is there a little story?
I argued, and I still believe that they should be out.
Who are you? What's your name?
Mark Geragos. How are you? Hi. So I understand what's happening. The governor would only have that ability constitutionally if the parole board does it. Right now, what is pending is, because it's 50 to life, they're immediately eligible. The first thing that is set is the clemency hearing, which is, I believe, on June 13th. So the clemency board, and this is something new, will make a recommendation to the governor, and then the governor will take action either before or after. So, yes, Jim.
People thought when you, around Thanksgiving, you said, I want them to be home by then, and people said it's never going to happen. You said they will be resentenced. This is a huge victory for you and for the family, clearly. What do you think a realistic timeline is now to finally see
I've said ever since my failed prediction of Thanksgiving dinner that 2025 would be their year. I mean, they got caught, ironically, they've been caught in politics 30 years ago in a DA's race. They got caught in politics now in 2024, and I'm hopeful now that Judge Jessup did what he was supposed to do. And I'm hopeful that now that the right thing will be done and they'll walk out. You know, they've got a family, and I think the takeaway for me today was that the family, this has become, their trauma has become kind of the subject of prurient interest. But they are a real family, real people who have lived through unimaginable horrors. And I'm hopeful and glad that we're one huge step closer to bringing the boys home. Thanks. Yes.
Are you concerned at all that this could get held up on an appeal if the DA's office files an appeal?
No, I'm not concerned with that. I think at this point, the record is such that the code section calls for this. This was from my mind, this was the minimum that they should get. It also, somebody mentioned this to me in the courtroom just now. This is a decision that I think will reverberate in the criminal justice system. One of the things that we have argued all along, and what the judge said today, the judge commented today, this is one of the most remarkable, and he used that term, remarkable transformations. And he said, while the crime was truly horrific and remarkable, the 35 years since, what they have accomplished is remarkable, with no hope. And we've said that since day one. And so, with no hope, this encourages people who are incarcerated to make the right decisions, to take the right path. So it's just a win-win on so many levels. And I will let the family talk. I could not. Yes.
Mark.
I know you've been
Mark.
I have not talked yet to Joan, but I'm hoping. I'll let the family say that. I'll let the family
do you
say
have a
that.
lighter? I need to smoke a cigarette. Mark, do you have a fucking lighter?
Hi everyone.
Mark.
This is a good day.
It's Mr. Hockman's PR person.
Mark. The defense attorney.
No, can you do me a favor? No, I don't
You
have a
have a
lighter.
lighter?
He does right there.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. You tell Mr. Hockman does. He's right over there.
Hollywood.
He's hiding in the
Hollywood
bushes.
is making
We have a lot of thank yous today from the family. Mark Geragos, Cliff Gardner. Thank you so much. You have brought hope to this family that we didn't see coming.
You know, we would be remiss if I didn't thank Alexandra Kazarian, my partner who's here behind me, if I didn't thank Milena Blake and Mike Romano. There's Milena back there. I apologize for Milena. It's got to be tough to sit at a council table and have me there kind of bulldoze my way through. So I said I thank X-Rated for having to subject himself to that brutality, but most of all for the family. I just couldn't be happier for you guys. It really is tremendous. And thank you. Talk to them.
This is the step in the right direction, but is there any worry or hesitation at all about the brothers facing the parole board?
Okay, yes. So, right, this is a step towards the parole process. Of course, June 13th, they will meet with the parole board. And, you know, in the state of California, it's a pretty stringent process. So we are very hopeful. I thanked Mark. I thanked Cliff. There is an entire legal team. But ultimately, we are here today with this result because of Eric and Lyle, because they chose to live their lives with clarity and a purpose of service that the judge was impressed by. And so a huge thanks to them, too, for being the kind of people that we could bring home.
What was it like to hear them read those tapes? What was it like for you to hear the brothers speak in their own words and say in no uncertain terms what they did was horrible, they blamed no one but themselves, they asked for forgiveness, and they thanked the family, and they embraced the love of the family?
It was very moving. I think everybody in the courtroom was moved by that. They've said those words to me personally before. That was not the first time that I had heard them take full accountability for their actions, for the effect that it had on my life, and express that. So I'm glad everyone else got to hear it.
Can you talk about the brothers' reactions as a result of
I haven't talked to them yet. Yes. I couldn't really see. I mean, they're on a screen, so I couldn't really see facial reactions, but I imagine that they will be pleased from today. Yes, so for my Spanish-speaking reporters, you have a treat today, which is my cousin Marta is going to follow me, and she is going to speak to you in Spanish. So you'll get the full thing and answer questions as well for anyone who is talking and speak. And what's next? Well, we still have, we have to go through the parole process, which is going to be very difficult for the family. That is a difficult process for the family to go through. We were certainly hoping for manslaughter, time served, so that we wouldn't have to go through this process, but we will eagerly step through those doors if that means getting them home. So also I want to say a thank you before I forget to Judge Jessic for being fair, for reading the law as it was written. Like Mark said, for not getting caught up in the drama of the situation, but for simply applying the law. So grateful to him as well. I am so happy that I wore waterproof mascara is how I'm feeling, because I have been crying all day long. So these are tears of joy for sure, and we're very excited. Yeah. Thank you. Can you hold on until Marta talks? Thank you so much.
Dígame, mi nombre es Marta Cano Hallowell, yo soy hija trina de Lyle y Eric, hija de Marta, que es una de sus tías, hermana de José. Así que estoy aquí para contestar preguntas para ustedes que hablan español.
¿Cómo te sientes con esta parcial triunfo legal
Muy agradecida, muy emocionada. Ellos han trabajado mucho para esto. Esto no viene de gratis. Y han puesto su vida, han dedicado su vida a mejorarse, y nosotros estamos aquí para apoyarlos y muy felices. Es un paso grandísimo el de hoy.
¿Cuáles son las expectativas que tiene la familia en este momento para el siguiente paso?
El siguiente paso es en unas cuantas semanas con el Parole Board, que veremos a ver. Ahí vamos, con los abogados otra vez a presentar el caso. El gobernador tendrá algo que ver con eso también.
¿Cuál es el resultado que esperan de ese día?
No sabemos. Esperamos, claro, que les den parole, pero no estamos seguros.
¿Nos podrías describir, ya sé que fue a través de una pantalla, la reacción de...
En realidad es muy difícil ver reacción en las pantallas. No quiero poner palabras en su boca en estos momentos. Prefiero que ellos puedan decir ellos mismos.
Sin embargo, cuando estaban describiendo, cuando el fiscal describió pues lo que había pasado, nuevamente, ¿no?, lo que ellos hicieron, ¿no?, se les vio bastante afectados, y también al momento de que ellos admiten su culpabilidad, o sea, vemos a Lyle en lágrimas.
Sí, estamos todos en lágrimas, ellos y nosotros.
¿Alguna vez dudaron que este momento llegaría?
Esperábamos, nadie sabe, y rezábamos que pasara, pero no sabíamos. Bueno, muchas gracias.
Gracias.
I just really want to thank Judge Jessic, Mark Geragos, Mike Romano, Alexandra Kazarian, Milena, Cliff Gardner, all of them. This is something my grandmother Joan has fought for 35 years. I really wish she was here today, but I'm really excited to give her the news. Beyond that, I really hope that this sets the precedence for other LWOP inmates who have shown transformation and change, and have done the same as Eric and Lyle, and created careers for themselves and created new hopes for themselves while they have been incarcerated. So with that, thank you for everybody's support.
All right, Diane. All right.
Hi, good afternoon, good evening.
Step up and pray. Step up to the mic.
De nada.
¿Nos puede decir cómo se siente?
Numb. No sé. No, estoy muy feliz y con esperanza. Por fin. La primera vez en 94 se me hace. Fue una injusticia y hoy un milagro. Es como un milagro, no sé más que decir. You wanted to ask me a question?
She can take questions in English.
You know, during the trial, the second trial, the defense was stripped of their entire defense, and it was an injustice. Their decision, the judge's decision, it was unjust. And today, Judge Michael Jessic followed the law, followed reasoning, and gave a hopeful resolution to this, finally, after 35 years.
Dane, what did you tell Judge Jessic today? Obviously you heard your message. What did you tell him? Why?
I asked him to be merciful because they have transformed themselves from the dark days when they were early on, when they were first sentenced to prison without hope, in despair, and from that they have blossomed into incredible human beings. They are remarkable men, and they are strong individuals, and all they want is to service and to help and to create positive consequences to every action. That's all they want. And I am 150% sure that when they are released, they will continue on that path. None of us believe that it would be anything less.
Yeah. And as you're saying, if and when they're released, what would they like to do with their futures?
Continue giving service back to the community, helping other programs, widening the scope of the programs that they have going at Donovan, and servicing the same programs, growing that into other prisons as well.
So the beautification project?
Yes, yes. The green, yes, exactly.
Can we give the floor to Honore?
Yes. I would like to, at this point, give the floor to Honore.
Sweet. Great job, sweetie. You did great.
Hello, everyone. My name is Honore Brown, A-N-E-R-A-E, Brown like the color. I'm the person they refer to as X-rated. A lot of people, there's a lot of information out there about my personal experience being incarcerated with Lyle and Eric, ultimately having them come to be mentors for me, and even me becoming a sponsor for Eric as a life prisoner with 31 to life, becoming a youthful offender, seeing the laws change, and ultimately being free. Doing the CRA exam myself, going through the board myself, I can assure everyone here that the brothers will do a great job when they get to board. I'm very proud of them for continuing in this way to lead. when I say that they're leading, what I mean is that the fact that they pursued so many different rehabilitative opportunities, that they instituted so many different programs and made it this far, is going to produce a sort of hope in a hopeless environment that people have never seen. And I know those jaded types who would like to say that this is some special thing and it doesn't apply to everyone. Me standing here being free is a statement to the contrary on that. It is, in fact, going to have a positive impact on that environment. People who wouldn't have went to rehabilitative programs, who wouldn't have done self-help because they were hopeless, can now believe that if they do the right things and that they do it with great consistency, that they can see a positive outcome similar to this. And so this is a victory for restorative justice. This is a victory for other people who have changed their lives in that hopeless circumstance, and will have an opportunity to be able to go to board themselves if they keep doing the right thing.
I have a question. If you had not met Lyle and Eric in prison, do you think you would still be in prison?
I would still be in prison, in my humble opinion. I believe that the behaviors that I was engaging in as a gang member, as somebody who was hopeless with a life sentence, I believe that I would have made my change as a result of the implementation of the law, like a lot of people have done. And ultimately, they're still there because their change can be questioned. When there's positive reinforcement, I don't like to tell people that I have something good for them when I ask them if they would like to participate, because if they knew, they might only accept the opportunity for the reward. So I like the fact that, you have people who make a decision to change, and it's an inherent thing. And I had that opportunity, and I believe that if not for Lyle and Eric, I may not have believed that for myself as early as I did, to allow me to have already been living that life when the law changed, instead of being motivated after it changed. I'll take anything that'll cause someone who's done something horrible to sincerely want to change their lives. Whatever we can do to tip that domino for them, I'll take it. However, for those who decided to do it when there was no hope, I think that's a greater statement about the sincerity of their change.
I'm curious what you thought of their statements today. This is the first time the public has been able to hear from them during these hearings. What did you hear when they spoke?
As someone who communicates with them frequently and still has spent more time with Lyle and Eric than I have with my mother, even though I've been free for 7 years, right? I knew that about them, that they had accepted responsibility, that they, even in an itemized way. So I thought I was more happy that they had an opportunity for other people to hear it, because it's a very consistent thing with them.
So what was it like for you to hear the DA consistently pounding them that they hadn't accepted responsibility when you knew that they already had? What was that like?
That was very challenging for me, but I think it was rewarding, the fact that after they had given an itemized statement of their insight, their remorse, very specific, what they were remorseful for, what they had insight for, how they felt about the way they'd impacted the family, for him to stand up and still repeat the fact that they had no insight, that they didn't understand and weren't accepting responsibility, highlights the fact that there was nothing that anyone could say that would have changed their tune. That was their song, and they were going to sing it.
Yep. You're going to have the last word.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you.
The judge has issued a ruling in the Menendez trial. He has issued 50 years to life. That means the brothers could be eligible for parole at some point, but they will not be released as of now. We, of course, have been following this case for many years, from initially when they first were charged with killing their parents, and then in recent years, as they seem to have a prosecutor who was somewhat in their favor, saying that they had done their time, that they should be released. There were multiple documentaries and series that played out, a lot of popularity, in particular on Netflix, a lot of interest over the decades about these two brothers and the relationship that they had with their parents, ultimately causing them to kill their parents in their home in Los Angeles. We are going to go to Matt Gutman now, who's been following this case from the very beginning. Matt, quite a development here.
An incredible development, Lindsay, especially given the headwinds that the brothers and their attorney, Mark Geragos, and the team has faced over the past 6 months from newly elected DA Nathan Hochman, who basically from the start said he would consider this case. He had inherited it from George Gascon, his predecessor, who had recommended that resentencing, which you just mentioned, 50 years to life. Gascon didn't say back then they should be out now. He said they should get out. They should be given a chance to parole. And that's what the judge found today. But I just want to give you a sense of what we just saw in court. There are no cameras in court. It's pad and paper only, so we can't even send emails to people. So we're watching this. We're sitting in court, and the pace is starting to pick up this afternoon. And it became evident about a couple of hours ago that they might be able to finish the proceedings today. It was supposed to be a 2-day hearing. And it wasn't clear if Mark Geragos, the defense attorney, would put Lyle and Eric Menendez on the stand, have them read a statement to the court, and he only did that after the judge agreed to resentence them. And so there was this big commotion in court as we were about to hear their statements, and they read statements for about 15 minutes each. Incredibly powerful, essentially admitting, Lindsay, every lie, taking full responsibility for the murder, saying they were unjustified, that they robbed their parents of their lives, that they feel permanent shame, that nothing is going to heal the wounds that they inflicted on, obviously, their parents, but also their family members and on themselves. And the repercussions of that are life-lasting. So they did exactly what DA Nathan Hochman has been asking for throughout, which is admitting to all of the things, to lying about being on the stand afterwards and concocting stories. And everything, the entire litany of what DA Nathan Hochman had asked them to do, they essentially did on the stand. And many of their family members were weeping. You could hear the sniffling in court. It was a very, very dramatic moment. The lawyers from both sides and the judge sat there rapt as they watched that video feed of those two men reading these statements for the first time. And it's really the first time we've heard them in court since their conviction in 1996. So it was a pretty momentous moment in the history of this extremely long case. I'm going to preempt the question you're going to ask next. What does this mean, 50 years to life? It means they get a chance to go before a parole board. But before they do that, they will have a hearing for clemency, which will also appear at the parole board on June 13th, and then the governor, Gavin Newsom, at some point has the choice of what to do here. Now, the discretion of what happens to the Menendez brothers largely, Lindsay, rests with Governor Newsom. But pretty extraordinary couple of hours that we just witnessed in court. I wish everybody at home could have seen that and that there were cameras in court. Alas, there were not.
Yeah, we appreciate you being our eyes and ears, and you are, in fact, a mind reader, because that is what I was going to ask you, is what happens next? We know that you're going to be following all along with us, as you have been on this case. Matt Gutman for us just outside of the courtroom. Thank you so much, Matt.
So, 35 years, I will say, 30 or 40 years ago, anyone in this country, if you killed somebody, you would make parole over time. Back in the day, murderers would get out at 20 and 25 years. You know, and then things changed in the last few decades where they made life without the possibility of parole. They served 35 years, a long time, even if they did kill their parents. Not their version of events, but actually in cold blood. 35 years is a long, long time. Plus, they'll be supervised for a long time. I think they served their time, in my opinion. Even if they did kill their parents in cold blood. It's a long time ago. They were young. Hopefully they get out and be productive, use a platform to make a difference, change lives, inspire youth not to be like them, and we'll see what happens. Or will we be reporting that they violated parole and went back to prison? Or, God forbid, commit a new crime and go back to prison? We'll see. We will see. Sub to the channel, like, hit the notification button. Let me know what you think about the Menendez brothers. We'll be following their movements. I'm sure they'll do book tours and movies and maybe they'll go on social media. Maybe they'll get a YouTube channel. We'll talk soon. JLR Investigates. Stay tuned.